get you into a place that where you would begin to seek him more. You need to seek his face more. You need to cry out to him more. You need to pray more. You need to come into his presence more. You need to be in church more.
All right.
And so God had to allow you to fall in a pit to get your attention. Many guys and girls or women or men have went to prison. And they wonder, why am I in prison? I didn't do the crime, but yet I'm in prison. I didn't do anything wrong, but yet I'm in prison. God may have locked you down so that he could visit you, so that he could talk to you and get you to where he needs you to be. Sometimes you got to be shut down, locked down, bolted down, or whatever you want to call it, so that God can get your attention. You might have been headed for destruction, and God had to lock you down to keep you from getting killed, because God has a divine destiny for you. He has a plan for your life, but in order for God to institute his plan in your life, he had to lock you down for a moment so that he could visit you, so that he could talk to you. Are y'all with me? I believe that sometime in your life, everybody that went through a pitfall. And I believe that the reason that we go through our pitfalls is because God is trying to get our attention. How many times do you pray a day? How many times do you study your word? How many times do you just sit down and meditate on the things of the Lord? How many times do you just sit down and say, Lord, I need to talk to you. I need to hear from you. How many times do you sit down and just commune with God, just fellowship with God, just get in God's presence and just say, I just want to be in your presence, Lord. I just want you to visit me. I just want you to talk to me. How many times you get in his presence and do that? We're dealing with two different type of people this morning. We're dealing again, I say, with the one who is really sold out to the Lord. And you're just trying to get there, trying to do all that you can. Then we got on the other hand, we got the person that is not trying quite so hard, and you falling in the pit. Now I'm here to help you to get out of the pit this morning. I'm here to help you to understand that God has a divine destiny for you. God has a place that he needs you to be. Now Joseph had to go through a lot in order to get to where God needed him to be. He was sold into slavery. After he was sold into slavery, he was sold to Potiphar. And then in Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife wanted to have a relationship with him. He had to run from her. He went through a lot to get to where he needed to be. But as he was in Potiphar's house, God had divine favor on him. How many of y'all want divine favor on your life? In order for you to get divine favor, you got to go through something. You can't just get it just being a person. Every now and then you got to go through some stuff. But I say again that we as the people of God don't want to go through nothing. Want everything laid out on a silver platter. It's not going to happen like that. You got to suffer. You got to go through. Jesus suffered. And so as he suffered, we will suffer as well. It's not going to be given to us on a silver platter. We got to work for it. But Joseph, there was a famine that came in the land. And his father and his brothers, they didn't have any food. And so Joseph, by this time, Joseph had went all through the thing that he would go through. So he had to be positioned in this place that when the famine came, that he would be in a position to help his brothers and his father. How many times have you wanted to help one of your family members, but you were not in a position to be a blessing to them? So then God got to allow you to go through some things. In order for you to be in a position and where you can help somebody else. I don't know about you, but I want to be in that position where I can help somebody. So my life got to go through some challenges. I got to go through some things in order to be able to be a blessing to somebody. You know, sometimes we wonder why our finances get into the shape they get in. Sometimes we got to lose a little bit in order to gain. But the Bible said that if we pay our tithes and give an offering, that blessings will come on us. But sometimes God will allow us to go down before he let us come up. So how many of y'all have went down? Waiting on God to bring you back up. Amen. So you got to go through some things. Life, sometimes it seems as if life deals us a bad hand. But life is not the one that's dealing us a bad hand. Sometimes we deal our own self a bad hand. And we blame it on life. Amen. Because sometimes we put ourselves in positions that where God didn't put us in. And then we want to blame life for putting us there. Sometimes we want to blame God for putting us there. Some of y'all right now, you're in some places right now where you don't want to be. You're into some situations right now where you want to get out of that situation. You want to be free from that situation. But see, now you're looking at God to deliver you, and God didn't put you there. And so, but now you're waiting on God to deliver you. And so sometimes we got to understand that we bring things upon our own selves because of our actions, because of our ways, and because of the things that we do. Now, Joseph didn't bring this upon himself. He was just a man that was out there who had a dream. But on the other hand, we got to look at our lives. Why did this thing come upon us? Is it because of some of the things that we did? Is it because God is trying to make us? Or is God breaking us to make us? What is it that we're going through? And why are we going through what we're going through? I want you to examine your life this morning. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Am I going through this because I put myself there? Or am I going through there because God is trying to make me to be what I need to be? I want y'all to think about that for a minute. I'm going to ask Marlon to come on back to the keyboard. And we're going to play some soft music while I want you all to meditate. I want you all to think. Because God needs to deliver you from the thing that you're going through in order to get you where he needs you to be. See, God has a divine destiny for your life. He got some things that he needs you to do. But see, you're so caught up in the things that you're going through until you're not focused on the thing that God needs you to be focused on, because you're focused on what you're going through. Amen? So I want you to think for a minute and ask yourself, why am I going through? Why am I in the pit? Am I in the pit because God put me in the pit? Or am I in the pit because I got in the pit because of the things that I desired in life? We was at a conference on yesterday, and I heard the preacher say this. I heard one preacher say that he put himself in a situation because of convenience. God had called him into the gospel ministry, and he knew that he had to do the things of God. But he got married out of convenience, because he knew that a preacher should be married. And he knew that he had to walk in the ways of the Lord. And so he got married out of convenience to help further his ministry. Why did you get in the position that you're in? Is it because God put you there? Is God trying to make you? Is God trying to mold you? Or did you get in that pit because you desired something out of life? And what you desired out of life was not what God wanted you to have. I want you to think about it for a minute. There are quite a few people in here this morning that you've been through a lot of things in your life. And you wonder why you've been through those things. I want you to think about it. God didn't put you in everything that you're going through. You're in the pit now, yes. God is raising you up out of the pit. But he's not going to raise you up to fall down in the same pit again. And he's not raising you up to go back in the same spot that you was in when you failed. Many times I hear people, I've heard people come to me and they say, well, Pastor, how can I get back to where I was in the Lord? And I often tell them, don't try to get back to where you was in the Lord. Try to get back to a little bit higher than where you are. Because if you get back to where you was in the Lord, you're subject to fall again. Because you're in the same position, in the same situation that you was in before.